Welcome back into GMQC at 11. You know it's Wednesday. You know what time that is. It's Plants and Gardens Expert Time with Craig Hignight. And thank you so much for joining us.
Glad to be back.
Absolutely. Yeah. And yes, again, send your questions to our WQAD Facebook page. And we're going to try to get to as many as we can here. And let's get started. This one says, is it okay to trim the bottom branches of my magnolia tree?
I'd wait until the ground freezes. Right now, I'm telling people to kind of keep those pruners at bay. If we were to get a longer fall where the weather stays halfway decent, plants tend to grow after you prune them. So wait until the ground cools down. Let's give it to Thanksgiving before you start pruning.
This is from Lisa. When do I dig up canna bulbs?
Okay, cannas, we're going to get a killing frost probably within the next 3 weeks. That day, you go out and you cut the cannas off, you take the tops, and you lay them on top of the crown of the plant. You're going to leave them in the ground for another 2, maybe 3 weeks. Then you dig them up. This lets the ground cool down around the rhizomes, forcing them into dormancy. If you dig them up the day that they get frosted, they're going to continue to try and grow, and it greatly reduces their quality over the course of the winter.
This one says, what is the best way to start new lilacs from an existing bush, and what time of year should it be done?
Wow, limelight, you know, this is one of those things that I'm not sure how easily it's going to root, but you will wait until spring. When the new growth is about 5 or 6 inches long, you'll take cuttings, you'll try and get a node where the leaves are right at the bottom. You'll take those leaves off, use a rooting compound, insert them into propagating soil, and then it's up to Mother Nature. It takes about 4 to 6 weeks. Another route to go, if you have a soft limber branch, just bend it out and down and bury the branch at that node again in the ground. That's where it's going to make roots. It's going to take a little longer, but ground rooting is a very easy way to make new plants.
This one's from Pete. When is it safe to split mums?
Wait until spring. We're not playing with our mums right now. They're coming into winter. We've got to, you know, if they've survived past winters, you are ahead of the game. I would wait until spring when the new growth is about 2-3 inches tall. Then you can dig, divide, move, and the earlier in the season you do this, the better chance they're going to have of surviving next winter.
This one says, what is going on with the spring blooming plants? They've lost their leaves, but lilacs and trees have flowers popping up, and I've never seen them do that before.
Oh, this is not uncommon. Quite often this time of the year, we've had just enough cool weather that some of the buds have broken their dormancy and they're blooming. I've had lilacs, I've had forsythia, crab apples. There are plenty of back buds on those plants that will go ahead and bloom next spring. Enjoy this little bit of fortuitous bloom this time of the year. They're going to still bloom very well next spring.
Bev says, I need to bring my houseplants in soon. How do I make sure that they don't have bugs on them that also come inside?
Okay, you're going to do a couple of sprays with either all-season oil spray or maybe an insecticidal soap spray. Wait 10 days, spray again, and then the big thing, do not move them into the house on the day that you water them outside. They'll be instantly overwatered. I'd like to see that water drawn down in the soil a little bit before they come in the house, but a couple of sprays of insecticide should take care of any problems.
When can you trim rose bushes?
Rose bushes, it's a little early. We're going to wait until after Thanksgiving, maybe even clear out until early December, maybe even Christmas. And then we're going to take them down to 18 inches above the ground, mound them up with cheap shredded bark or get a cone on them to protect them from the winter wind, but don't do it now. Again, you'll get that late growth, and that late growth isn't going to survive the winter.
This is from Rick. The asparagus patch has just a few plants that are seeded. Would it be in the patch's best interest to dig those up now, the crowns, because the bad weatherman said the F word?
Oh,
so
who's that?
Maybe it's time to whack them off the ground after that too?
Well, you're not supposed to cuss on TV. Anyway, if it's just a few crowns, yes, you might go ahead and remove those, but if they're mature to the point that they're making seed, hey, they're still making asparagus. So the important thing is that you do this very judiciously. You don't want to harm the other crowns that are in the bed, but the important thing is that all of those fronds on the asparagus are cut off at ground level and either burned or put in the trash. You do not want them on the around the property to get insects from this year to next year, also diseases.
Mini roses, should they be covered for the winter and cut back?
I would. And you never know the kind of winter we're going to have. This guy over here, he just, he can't get the weather nice and even. And it's the erratic winters that we have. Freeze, thaw, freeze, thaw. Snow, no snow. That is what damages plants like roses because they just dry out. It's like freezer burn on steaks in the freezer. So mounding definitely helps on plants that are going to have a possibility of drying out over winter.
This is from Pat. The skunk and raccoons are tearing my yard up. We put down the grub killer, but it has not helped.
Okay, I don't know if you use the 24-hour grub killer. That's what you use this time of the year. I call it the nuclear option. It takes everything out of the yard except for the worms. And those are the good guys. And you put it down, you water it in. The skunks and raccoons should stop feeding within about 24 hours. And remember, your actual grub control, the one that's going to prevent all this problem, goes down on the 4th of July.
Mm-hmm. And then along with that, what's the best way to get rid of little black bugs?
If it's the fungus gnats in the house that are just flying around making you nuts, the first thing you do is hunt out that wet plant where they're living and breeding. You've got to let your plants dry out properly to break the breeding cycle. Secondly, you could use mosquito bits. These get soaked in water, they give off a bacteria, and you use that water to water your plants and it kills off the larvae in the soil. But if you don't cut back on the water on this wet plant, they're going to come right back because mosquito bits control doesn't last forever. And I always say, if you're going to err in water, err to the dry side. Dry doesn't kill. Wet will take them out every time.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Craig, for coming in, as always.
That was 8 minutes already?
Yeah.
Okay.
It goes fast. That's
like
right.
that.
But it's every Wednesday on our WQAD Facebook page. So there it is, appointment TV for you. You can always remember. Mark it down on your calendar. Okay. Well, still to come, we also want to send you back out to, as we're tracking Hurricane